Hi YouTube, it's Janelle here and I'm at Stanford University. It is a beautiful freaking campus. Yo, I'd probably been to Stanford like once or twice, but I hadn't really had a chance to walk around and look at how beautiful this campus is. It's so big and just, man, it's so nice to be here. So I'm in Palo Alto, California for work this week, and then while I was on social media, I was posting about being in California, and a student group reached out to me that's interested in personal finance and does a lot of like work with students that are low income and that are at like prestigious universities or expensive universities. So I basically came out to Stanford to meet with them, and we're gonna work on putting together a presentation, like a workshop series, which is so dope. I'm so excited for that. But I realized, like, while I'm out here, I have some free time, and I had not posted a YouTube live in a minute. So hi Steven, it's so nice for you guys to be on here, because like I have not taken the time to just sit down and do a live in a while. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity. I'm in a beautiful campus and I have some free time, so I'm just gonna be on here for a little bit, and I have some life updates that I haven't been able to really post about on the channel yet. So I figured this would be a good time to like share those updates and just talk to you guys and see whoever's online right now what you guys are up to and what questions you might have. I see Winter. Hey Winter, welcome. Thank you for all your videos. They're really helpful. You're welcome. Like, honestly, you guys, y'all need to send me some requests. Like, I have so many questions. Cesar, hey, what's up, Cesar? I have so many questions in my Gmail inbox that are like questions that I feel like I've already posted videos about. And what happens, people email me and ask me questions. I just respond to them with like a link, and I'm like, hey, go watch this video on YouTube. Like, I already posted about that. So I need new video ideas. Like, I'm always looking for like current events and like whatever's going on about money in the news. But like, if whatever you guys want to know, I feel like y'all need to put it in the comments. I need to email me, reach out to me and tell me, because I'm always looking for new content. Hey Selena Rose, nice to see you, nice to hear from you. I feel like I haven't really seen comments from people in a minute on a live, so I'm kind of excited today to just see who comes on. I know it's like random and early, I didn't announce it, but yeah, I'm gonna start by just sharing with you guys a quick update about how I doubled my net worth. So if you guys remember last year, I think maybe like 18 months ago, I posted a video that was like about how I was featured in an article by Jopwell. They have a blog called The Well, and they do a lot of like reaching out to people of color who are finishing school and need to find a good job, and then they pair like companies that are looking for employable people. And so basically, yeah, just like posted an article with them on their blog about how I had $50,000 net worth just from saving and investing and like getting out of debt. Since then, which I think that was like around March of 2018, now, which is September of 2019, I've actually doubled my net worth. So now I have over $100,000 net worth in just like a year and a half. And that's aggressive AF. So I figured I would just share the update and like give you guys a quick tip about how I did it. One of the big things I feel like that I took advantage of was maxing out the retirement investing that I could do through my job. Every year, I would get an evaluation and we looked at my salary, and I would just negotiate my salary, which I just posted a video last week about the things that I recommend you keep in mind when you want to like negotiate your salary or try to get a salary increase. So yeah, every time I would get like my review, I would just sit down with my boss and like, I've done so many different jobs since I graduated college. I'm not the person who like had the same job all the way through from 18 years old to 30 years old, which is crazy. I just turned 30 years old this summer. I feel so old, but no, I'm not. I feel young at the same time. It's just weird because like a lot of the people that are in my family are younger than me now, like my cousins and all of that. So it's kind of weird to say like I'm 30. I'm not saying I'm 20 something anymore. But yeah, basically I haven't been the type of person who always has the same job from college all the way through to turning 30. So because I've had so many different jobs, I always try to like increase my salary from one job compared to the job that I had before, and always within each job talk to my supervisor, my boss, and just always constantly push that like I work really hard. Thank you, Sim. He says happy belated birthday. My birthday was in the summer too. Summer birthdays. I'm a Virgo. Hopefully you're a Virgo too. I like Virgos. Virgos are very organized and just on top of our stuff. So I like Virgos. But we could be a little OCD sometimes. But yeah, so basically I would always make sure that I advocate for myself and tell them, listen, I work really hard. Within 6 months of starting the job, I expect to sit down and look at my salary again. Can we get that in writing? Things like that. So yeah, basically like every time I would sit down, I would just show like results, like, hey, this is what I have been able to do here. This is the work that I've done. These are the results that I've gotten. And, yeah, just pretty much have been able to increase my salary like that. And so through that, I, of course, like I kept on investing in my Roth IRA and all those other things. But the main thing I took advantage of was the company match. If you have a 401k that has a company match, you guys, like, I cannot push this enough. Oh, you guys, the comments are so sweet. Ricardo Chavez says you're an inspiration, and Sim says he's a Leo. Leos and Capricorns, you know, y'all cool too, but sometimes Leos be a little feisty. But basically, every time you have opportunity to invest in a 401k that has a company match, or like some type of investment account through your job that has a retirement match, you gotta do it because it's free money. And I'll give you an example. Like, basically with my job now, I get half of whatever I put in, up to 10% of my salary. So basically, by putting in 10% of my salary into the retirement account, I'm putting aside 15% of my salary for the rest of my retirement, but I only have to put 10% of that. So that's pretty amazing because they're gonna put the half of what I put in. So let's say I put $1,000 every single month, you know, in a year, that's 12 months times $1,000, that's $12,000, and then the company's gonna give me $6,000 free. Now I went from $12,000 by myself to $18,000 with the company match. So by myself, I was closer to $10,000, and now with taking advantage of the company match, I'm closer to $20,000. That right there is almost doubling my net worth. Like, thinking about things like that, you gotta take advantage of that stuff. And a lot of people don't think about it, or the numbers are confusing, like 5% match on this or that. Yeah, like, you know, people don't take advantage of this kind of stuff. And so and the times when they do that, I feel like they don't really fully understand and feel confident about the decisions they're making, or maybe they put it off, they delay it because, like, oh, that paperwork is confusing. So yeah, I saw a question about target date funds. Target date funds are not bad. The only thing is that they don't give you a lot of, like, what's the word for it, like ownership and autonomy. Like, you don't have a lot of control. So basically, I had started with a target date fund when I was a teacher. The packet that they gave me had some target date funds. Travel, explore, click. Hello, Janet, you love the channel. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm talking about target date funds because somebody asked about it, and that was actually how I started investing. And I didn't really understand it, but I know the lady next to me who was filling out her paperwork at my job, there's a teacher who I was sitting next to during that meeting that HR did. She was filling out her information, and she picked a target date fund. So I just copied her information and, like, put, like, you know, started with moderately aggressive and worked towards the date on the retirement fund, which usually you try to pick the year around when you're going to retire. So if you're going to retire in 2055, then you're going to pick a 2055 target date fund. Then what they do is every few years, they start to change how many stocks you have compared to how many bonds you have in that fund, so that by the time you go to retire in 2055, all your portfolio is very, very conservative. So, like, you're not risking all of your money when you need it because you're about to retire. So by the time when you start investing, it's a lot of stocks and a little bit of bonds. But then they keep changing it automatically. You don't even have to do anything because it's a target date fund. You know, it's just automatic. So you just set it for 2055. Every few years, they're gonna change it and put more stocks, less bonds, more stocks, less bonds. I mean, other way around, because as the older you get, more bonds, less stocks, more bonds, less stocks. So by the time you're older, you're ready for retirement around 2055, it's like a lot of bonds and only a little bit of stocks, which is, you know, less risky. Hi, Curtis Dave, watching. I know you have Robo Advisor. Do you check it often? I'm gonna talk about that in a second. That's a good question. But yeah, so basically it's just automatic for you. You don't have to really do anything. You just keep putting the money in, and they figure out how much goes to stocks and how much goes to bonds, and they change it for you as you get closer to the year that you picked on that target date fund. So that's a sweet deal. But if you want to, like, I'm a little bit more controlling. I told you guys, I'm a Virgo. I'm a little OCD. I like to be in control. And I'm also more aggressive, like, as an investor. So I'm not, like, I don't know, I'm not cool with them just automating the process and figuring out my how much stocks versus how much bonds, which is called allocation. I want to do my allocation because I want to be a little more risky. So right now, even though I'm 30, I have like 100% stocks in all of my Robo Advisors, which I'll talk about in a second. So yeah, I have a lot of stocks. And even though most people would say, oh, you're supposed to, by the time you're 30, you're supposed to have like maybe 80% stocks and like 30% bonds. But honestly, I don't. I'm like, I'm honestly like, I have like 100% stocks because I want to be aggressive now so that I can, you know, maybe hopefully retire a little bit early. Is my birthday early September? No, my birthday was August 31st. It was the last day of August. I just turned 30, and I was just talking about that earlier, how it's crazy because it just feels weird to say 30 instead of 20 something. All right, so let me talk about my Robo Advising real quick. So Honestly, I use both Wealthfront and Betterment. And you guys know I'm not sponsored. I mean, maybe one day, hopefully, I'll be on that sponsored level. But right now, I'm not. So I just talk about this because this is what I do. And I wish that somebody had sat me down and explained to me like how they do things. It doesn't mean I have to copy them. And I hope you guys don't just copy what I say, but at least to give you an idea to start talking about these things, to give you some language and some examples. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, so ETFs are not a bad thing. Robo advisors use ETFs, which means exchange traded funds. So they're basically mutual funds that you can trade, index funds that you can just trade like the whole fund, instead of like, usually people think like when you're trading stocks, but you can also trade the entire fund now with exchange traded funds. So in robo advising apps, they do it for you. Like, it's automated, you don't really have to do anything, but you can know that the whole fund can be traded at any point in time, which, you know, it's pretty cool. It's newer, and it allows more sort of control because you could trade at any point throughout the day, versus other types of funds you have to wait until like the stock market closes at the end of the day. Like, now you know the closing price, and that's when you can like make trades, versus exchange traded funds, ETFs, you can trade all times throughout the day. So that's the nice thing about them. And so basically, yeah, I just do Betterment for my Roth IRA. I had a traditional IRA, but I stopped adding money to it because I'm trying to take advantage of my Roth IRA as much as I can. Pretty soon, you guys, because I doubled my net worth, I know a lot of the money is coming from income that I'm getting from a lot of my side hustles that I'm out here just hustling. So because of that, I know pretty soon I'm gonna hit like 6 figures. Like, I cannot wait to be making so much money. But once I hit a certain amount, I can't do the Roth IRA anymore because they cap the amount of income that you can make. So once you're making more than like 130 something thousand, which that's the goal. We about to hit 130K real soon. So once I'm making that much money, I have to do traditional IRA. I can't, or do a backdoor Roth IRA, which I need to do more research on. So basically, like, I'm taking advantage of the Roth IRA as long as I can. This year or next year is going to probably be my last year that I can take advantage of it. So I'm trying to milk that Roth IRA as much as I can, and then obviously go back to a traditional IRA or do a little more homework. So yeah, I use Betterment for that, and I love them because just make it easy. Like, you pick how much stocks compared to how many bonds you want in your portfolio, and they do the work. And you know, they give you, they tell you the formula that they use. Like, they tell you which specific exchange traded funds they invest in, and they invest largely in Vanguard Total Index, which is really awesome because that's like the one that I really like. And when I invest like myself, I would go to, and I put this all over videos, I would go to Vanguard Total Stock Market if I had the chance. So an exchange traded fund that mirrors, you know, Vanguard Total Stock Market is perfect for me because that's what I like to invest in anyway, which is all of the companies in the American stock market. So yeah, basically that's Betterment, why I like them. They're so easy to use. The app is super cheap. Super tech friendly, and it's cheap. It's really cheap to invest in. So I think it's 0.25% of total investments, total money that they're managing for you, which is way less than if you had a manager that manages your investments. Like in a mutual fund, they charge like 1%, sometimes 0.6%, 0.8%, 1.5%, a lot compared to 0.25. So that's why I like them. And then Wealthfront I like because, I don't know, I feel like their data is really robust. They have a lot of information, charts, graphs. You can look at data from like when you started. And even though you need $500 to start with Wealthfront, what I did was I just like started with Betterment because there's no minimum requirement. And then I just kept on adding money to my Roth IRA, kept on adding it. And then once my savings account hit my goal, I saved a little bit more and just did one chunk, $500 into Wealthfront, and then slowly I just started putting 20 more, 30 more every month until I just was able to put as much as I can. So now I go hard. My Betterment account probably has like $26,000 in it, which is my traditional IRA and my Roth IRA. My Wealthfront has another 25 or 26,000, so that already is like over 50K. Then my 401k from work with my match and all the things that I took advantage of is close to 20,000. It's like about 17, 18,000. And you know, that's already almost 70,000. And then I have like an HSA, a house savings account with money there. My checking account and my savings account probably like a total of $15,000. Like I put 7,000 in my emergency fund, and I have like 5,000 or 6,000 in my checking account. And so yeah, like when you just like add up all of those things, you know, it adds up to over $100,000. So I've been able to really double from 50K a year and a half ago to 100K, which is kind of amazing. And it's hard, guys. Like what it means is that I'm investing like over $1,000 every single month, and I'm living off of just the bare minimum, like my rent, some fun money, like, you know, $200, not a lot. I could be spending $700-800 on a month, like on travel or food or whatever, but instead, like, I'm being real like conservative. I'm sacrificing a lot right now because I know, like, who's that? Curtis just said, yeah, you could be a millionaire by 50. That's the dream, man. That's what I'm hoping. So then I can just do whatever I want, man. I can teach people about financial education. I could travel the world, and I can just, like, just chill, just do my own thing. But anyway, let me look at some of these comments. There were some really good ones that that you guys put about what types of accounts. So again, yeah, I have my traditional IRA, my Roth IRA, my 401k, which has a company match, and then I have a health savings account, which I opened with my old job, and I just kept maxing in, putting as much as I could. And the health savings account, basically, for you guys who don't know about what that is, it's like a medical account, so you can only use it for medical expenses. But the good thing about it is it comes out of your check before taxes. So you basically never have to pay taxes on the dollars that you spend towards medical expenses. But the beautiful thing about it is if you don't have medical issues and you end up not having to spend a lot of money on your medical expenses throughout your life, then once you turn 65 or 60, I think, then the HSA becomes regular money that you could just add to your retirement account. So like basically you could take it out and use it for anything that you want after you retire. So I'm like, that's for me in my mind, I'm like, that's there in case I need it for pre-tax money, Curtis, pre-tax money. So that's amazing. Anytime you hear pre-tax or tax advantage, like look into it, because it's very hard to avoid taxes in this country. Like in terms of being an average American who earns regular money, of course there's corporations and stuff that avoid taxes, but regular people earning regular salaries, like it's very hard to avoid taxes. You have to pay taxes on money that you earn. The report, companies report your income on 1099, on W-2. It's like, unless you're just doing cash under the table, it's very hard to avoid taxes when you're working legitimately. So if you ever get a chance through your job or through these accounts to like basically not pay taxes on certain things, it's a good thing to take advantage of. So Janice Brown says, true. Yeah, girl, I ain't lying. I'm not lying. So there was, how do I create, I'm creating my own portfolio, and I want to know some strategies. Robo advisors are definitely easier to deal with. I think that's a good strategy for creating your own. Yes, definitely. And indices, I always say indexes, but the actual correct way to say more than one index is indices. Indices, which means more than one index, are really good to help you. So my favorite index is Vanguard Total Stock Market, which the symbol is VTSAX. Basically, that index has every company in America. If you wanted an index that's more popular and more people know about, S&P 500 is a good index. So if you have something that mirrors or copies or follows the S&P 500, then you're pretty straight, because the S&P 500 is a good, like a sample of the whole American stock market. So when the American economy is doing well, then your portfolio is doing pretty well. And when the American economy struggling, then your investments are struggling. But for the most part, the American economy does well over time. Which ETFs do you recommend for a 22-year-old who's opening a Roth IRA and in college? Who's that? Tyree, I would definitely say VTI. I love VTI. It's an ETF that mirrors the Vanguard Total Stock Market, which I just talked about. I love Vanguard. They're amazing. They're super low fees, and the creator of the index fund. So if you can mirror every company in the stock market through Vanguard, that's probably the best bet, and just keep putting money in that Roth IRA little by little every month until you retire. Like, you're gonna be set if you keep doing that. I really wish I had started when I was in college, because I had 3 or 4 jobs in college and I was not, oh my goodness, I was not investing. Congratulations on hitting 35K. Thank you. Yes. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that my YouTube channel, my little baby that I created a few years ago, you guys, I really created my YouTube channel just like as a little community to help people. Pinhead Larry, hi Yaneli, hi. Is that a picture of Patrick Star from SpongeBob? That's so funny. I honestly just created my YouTube channel because I wanted I knew that I needed help with my finances when I was younger, and I never could find somebody who just talked about it in plain English. And I just wanted to be that person that you don't have to be a financial expert. You don't have to know all of these terminologies and vocabulary and technical terms and jargon. You could talk about it like everyday language. And so honestly, I feel like I wish I had that. So that's why I created the YouTube channel. But I did not expect 30,000, 35,000 people to subscribe to this, which it's beautiful, man. It warms my heart. Thank y'all, everybody on here today. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support, for the comments, for the likes, for sharing my videos with other people. Funny story, my little brother, who is not so little, he's in his mid-20s. He messaged me a while back and he was like, yo, will you believe this? Look at this text message chain. So he screenshotted his phone. Basically, he was text messaging a friend of his, and his friend was like, yo, bro, you need to check out this video. It helped me so much with my credit score. And then he sent him a video from MissBeHelpful, and my brother was like, that's my sister. So yeah, hitting 35K is a beautiful thing. And when things like that happen, it's so funny. It's a beautiful thing because it just means like I'm touching people that I would never even thought. Like I would never even have thought that some people that like are close to me, like physically, geographically, but also people that I could never meet in person because they're like in India or in Canada or whatever. Like it's so cool when you guys message me and comment on the videos and tell me where you're at and what you're learning from my stuff. And I'm just, yeah, anyway, I'm elated, I'm happy. Small world, seriously, right? Isn't it a small world? 6 degrees of separation, all of that. Hey Yaneli, which high yield savings account do you recommend? So I have a couple. I'm not gonna lie, I have a few. I started with Ally a few years ago and I've always kept them. I know a lot of people are complaining because they recently dropped their interest rate, but like all of the high yield online savings accounts dropped a little bit because, you know, the Fed dropped interest rates. So basically when that happened, the Fed raised interest rates. When that happens, savings accounts have to, you know, lower their interest rate because they have to pay a little bit more to move money around. So so yeah, I mean, basically like it's just it's gonna be like that. You can't like worry too much about chasing the interest rate on these savings accounts. Like don't worry so much about it. Try to find a bank that gives you much more than the average, which is like 0.09. As long as you have like, you know, 5 times more than that, you know, or more, like obviously you want to try to get as much as you can, but if you're going to be changing banks all the time because you're trying to find a bank that gives you the most, like it's not going to be worth it. So just try to find a bank that you like, bank that has no minimal fees or no fees. Like try to find one that that doesn't really have a lot of fees. I don't use Chime, and I'm not sponsored by, you know, them or anything like that, but I really like them and what they're doing right now. No overdraft fees, all that kind of stuff for banking, for like your checking account. So I definitely see what they're doing. And then also, if you really just want interest and you want to lock your money and save it, definitely do a CD. I saw somebody just put CDs at 3.5% for 3 years. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people can lock money away for 3 years and not worry about it. That's a luxury. I mean, that's a privilege to be able to have extra money like that you can freeze for 3 years. But if you're down to do that, there's no risk. I mean, a very, very low risk. So basically, you know, 3.5% is pretty decent. If you want more than that, government bonds, municipal bonds, whatever, all those kind of bonds, or bonds, corporate bonds, and then you know, which are a little bit riskier than CDs, but give a little more return and are not as risky as stocks. So yeah, I mean, honestly, if you know you need the money, keep it in a high yield savings account, and if you're not going to need it or you're going to use it in a few years, yeah, consider bonds or CDs because those are definitely good as well. I see some more questions here, but I'm not going to be on for too much longer because I've been talking. Do you recommend gold? Honestly, gold is going to trend up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like some periods of time it makes a lot of sense to invest in gold. Other times it doesn't. Some people love and believe in gold to the day they die. I'm not really huge on that. I feel like gold and commodities and all that stuff, like it's just a distraction. Just focus on business. Like business does well in this country. The economy does well in this country. And unless you're like anti-capitalist or something like that, you have a problem with the stock market and corporations, which of course a lot of people do feel uncomfortable with that. But I recommend looking at funds that invest in companies that do social good and companies that don't have questionable ethical practices and things like that. So there's some startups that are focusing on that. Definitely don't just miss out on investing because you feel like you're not into capitalism and all that. There are definitely ways that you can invest as a social investor with you know, social good in mind. So don't sleep on the stock market. There's opportunities for you to invest in companies that do good in the world. Tommy Bryson, hey, what's up? So let's see. I mean, honestly, I feel like, yeah, I wouldn't go crazy chasing interest rates, and I wouldn't go crazy looking for all the best products and all that kind of thing. Just focus on how much are you saving? Focus on maximizing how much you can save. And if, for example, like if you're earning like $30,000 a year and you have a 401k and you're just like, I can't put 10% of my paycheck in that 401k because I need every dollar for my check. I don't earn a lot. If you have a company match, I would disagree with you. I would say you do need to put 10% or whatever percent of your salary to get that company match, because that's free money. You should definitely do that. But then you have an extra job on the side, which is you need to find a side hustle that generates 10% of your salary, so that now you're back to earning 100% of what you were earning. And bonus points if you could find side hustles that make even more than 10% of your salary, so that you make more than 100% of what you were earning. So instead of just earning $30,000, you can make $40,000 if you get an extra $10,000 from some side hustles, which is less than $1,000 a month. And that's definitely doable in this day and age. There's so many companies that you can do, you know, side hustle work with. Uber, Lyft, Instacart, online stuff. You can do virtual assistant work online. You can babysit, tutor. I mean, yo, you can do so many things. I'm a side hustle queen. A few years ago, when I was a teacher, I worked for this company that did like digital education, and I would just go to their office and record instructional videos. And it's so funny because I think either on Instagram or on YouTube, somebody commented and was like, "You look like the lady from these educational videos from da-da-da company." And I was like, that was me. Like, yo, I got receipts for how much I am a side hustle queen, because I've been doing side hustle since even when I was a full-time teacher who worked all the time. But I knew that, you know, $40,000 in New York City was not gonna cut it for me, so I had to work on Saturdays tutoring. I worked at nights, and I did whenever I could those, you know, digital education videos. So what is my profession now? So now I make money from so many different ways, you guys. Like, I'm still a side hustle queen, but my full-time job, 9 to 5, I work at a nonprofit that's based right here where I'm at right now, which is Palo Alto, California. And what they do is teach teachers how to teach personal finance to students in high schools, and create lesson plans, games, activities, tests, all the things that a teacher might need to teach this stuff that I love so much and talk about on YouTube. If you wanted to teach it to your high school students in a personal finance class, then basically you go to the website and just get everything that you need. And it's ngpf.org. It stands for Next Gen Personal Finance. It's an amazing company, honestly. Like, it aligns perfectly with my passions, which is as a former classroom teacher, teaching and educating people, but also with my passion for this stuff, for money and personal finance, and educating people on that. So yeah, basically, like, I love what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm on Stanford University's campus right now, which is, man, it is beautiful right now. Look at this campus. Like, I mean, the sun is like all up in my eyes. But yeah, like, so I'm just chilling on this campus for a little bit this morning. I was saying earlier when I jumped on the call that I had a meeting with some of the administrators here and a group of students that want to bring a financial education workshop series to the students at Stanford. So we're working together to do that. So if you're a student at Stanford and you've seen this video, or you know somebody at Stanford, like, send this to them and reach out to me, because we're working together to put that workshop series together. But I want to make sure that there's a lot of student interest in this, because, man, I wish that somebody came to my college campus when I was an undergrad and talked to me about money and investing and saving and budgeting, and just shook me up and told me to smell the coffee and slapped me out of all the reckless spending that I was doing with my credit cards at that time. But yeah, so we're hoping to be able to do that. So that's my full-time job, you guys. But then on the side, I do stuff like this. I go to college campuses, I go to high schools, I go to companies, I go to nonprofits, and I speak. So speaking gigs can definitely pay well, but it takes a lot of time. It took me a few years to build up my brand and my reputation as a financial educator. So basically now, because I have my YouTube channel and I have a following on Instagram and I have my website, people will pay me to come and speak. So as a speaker, I do get paid speaking gigs, which is amazing. Helps me to add money to my financial goals and to my income every year. And then I also do a lot of blogging for different companies, which pays me pretty well also. And I do videos for people, like instructional videos. I get paid for that as well. I got side hustles for days, you guys, and you know, things like that. So basically, even if you're making a lot of money in a job and you like it, that doesn't mean that you should just take a nap and chill because you're good to go. Like, find things that you're passionate about and do some side hustles. That's something that I really believe in. Saludos, hi, hola, oh my goodness, yes. Another thing that I love that happened to me when I was at Stanford's campus this whole week, I was on Instagram and I posted that I was here at Stanford, and the Latino Student Union reached out to me like, oh, it's Latino Heritage Month, it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and and September 15th to October 15th is. So that is also something that I'm trying to work with the students here to offer workshops to the Latino students and Hispanic students, specifically about, trying to figure out how to navigate money within our culture, because a lot of Latino families, man, it breaks my heart when I look at these statistics. I think only like 4% or something like that of Latinos are actually investing in the stock market in America. And that is heartbreaking. Like 4%. That is not even 10%, not even 2 digits. Like, that means 96% of Latino Americans in this country are not investing in the stock market. And like, I wonder if it's, because of the lack of education. That's like my biggest gut reaction is like, hey, I know that if I had sat down with my dad, many years ago, and somebody had sat down with my dad, because many years ago I didn't even know about this stuff. But if somebody had sat down with my dad, 10, 20, 30 years ago when I was born, and said to him, for the next 30 years, instead of putting, whatever, $10, $20 to the lottery, because my dad loved that lottery. That man loves his loteria. And a lot of Latinos do. So, if somebody had explained to him that those same dollars that you're putting into lottery and gambling all the time, if you take that and invest it in an index fund for over 30 years, you can have 6 figures in your account. And I know that my dad, he's 70, my dad is 70 right now this year. It would be nice for him to have an account with 6 figures, and it really would. He doesn't, because he wasn't preparing for retirement. No one had taught him these things. And then also there's a language barrier, which I see somebody just said. So yeah, it's all these things. All of these things are super important. Visited Santa Cruz, stayed for 6 months. Nice, Curtis. That is amazing. Do I still use credit cards? And if you do, which cards do you keep on rotation? Oh, my phone almost fell. Yes, I do. Was that Cesar? I do use credit cards. Honestly, I use them mostly to get the perks. So travel rewards. I love traveling. When I do travel, I usually fly either JetBlue or United. So I have a Capital Rewards card and a JetBlue card, and both of those are the cards that I primarily use, because they give me miles and rewards points so that I can fly free at least 2 or 3 times a year, depending on how much I spend, with Capital One rewards or with my JetBlue card. So I do use credit cards. I use credit cards honestly for everything and anything that I have to pay for, because I have to pay for it anyway, and instead of giving them cash directly, I can use the credit card and then just pay the credit card every single month in full. That's the important piece. I pay all my credit cards every single month in full. I never carry a balance from one month to the next, so I know I don't get charged interest, so the banks don't make a lot of profit off of me. So yeah, even if you do speak English, you also need to be in a community that invests, to have the drive and to learn. Yes, honestly, I think that's the biggest barrier for my parents, because honestly, there's a lot of investing information available in Spanish. The problem is you have to know that investing is important so that you can go look it up. Like, it's not just gonna drop into your head one day. You wake up and you're like, "Ay, qué lindo día! Oh, it's amazing today. Let me research investing in the stock market." Like, that's not something that would just pop into your brain. It has to be brought to your attention. It has to be taught to you, just like all the other things that we know are important because we learn them. So yeah, I think it's education. We need education, and we need to be teaching it to communities with language that they can access, instead of putting out these courses and all of these things out there that are confusing, and using language that the average high income earning or middle income earning American speaks like that, but low income people that have not had as equal access to education opportunities and the vocabulary, like, they're not going to be able to watch those and, 1, enjoy it, 2, understand it, and 3, be able to apply it. Instead, they're going to watch it, they're going to get bored, they're going to be confused, and they're not going to take action. So we need to take those things and reverse them and get the opposite results. What campus am I at? I'm at Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. So yeah, if she's not Dominican, my radar's off. I am Dominican. I'm Dominican from New York City. Y'all should know these things, because I posted a video, oh man, maybe it was 2 years ago already, about 25 questions with me, and I posted that my family's Dominican, I'm from New York City, all those good things. How did I pay for college if I only had $5,000 student loans when I graduated? I got a full scholarship to Brown University. It was because of academics and also because of need-based financial aid. So when they looked at my parents' income taxes, they were like, "Oh, Jesús, pobrecitos, they don't have any money. Let's help them out," because You know, universities, actually big universities that are super expensive most times, do have need blind admission, which is amazing, because if you deserve to get into the school, you have a good grades and everything, they accept you, and then afterwards they look at your family's package, or you know, income, taxes and all that in FAFSA, and if you cannot afford it, they help you figure it out by giving you the financial aid that you need. And that is getting better and better over time, because Brown just did a commitment that and I think other Ivy League universities too, that if you get accepted but you can't afford it and your family, you know, doesn't have the income, then they're gonna make sure that they give you the money that you need and make sure you don't have to graduate with student loan debt. So that's amazing, man. That's honestly something that, if you are young out here and you're applying to college, that you should take advantage of. But in order to take advantage of that, you got to be a A student. Like, the only way they're going to accept you is if you have really good SAT scores and bomb grades, like 4.0 GPA and all of that. And I was definitely nerdy in high school. I really liked reading, and math was my favorite subject, which is funny because now I like money, and money is basically math. But yeah, so I think if you're an academic, a high academic performer and achiever, then definitely consider those financial aid packages. If you think your family doesn't have enough money for college, don't feel like, oh, college ain't for me. You know, think about all the ways that, and watch the video that I posted with Jaime Barajas, who works in financial aid counseling, actually here in Cali, in the Bay Area. Cool. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up because I've been talking for a long time, and this sun is cooking me. I'm gonna be like a tostón. I'm gonna be like a huevo frito out here in this heat. So I'm gonna go inside where it's cool. But I just wanted to say thank you again to everybody on this channel who has supported me, commented, liked, subscribed. Like, you guys, I honestly cannot imagine a better community of people that are like smart and engaged and asking really good questions and learning about financial education, which is something that we all know we need a better system within education to teach it. So I'm just glad that you guys are here. Thank you for watching me today, for joining me, and I hope that this was a little helpful. If there's any question that I didn't answer, just send them to me on Instagram, DM me, or put them in the comments after this video goes live and or goes on the channel, and I will definitely come back on and answer them, or post videos to help out with those questions. So that's all I have for you guys. Thanks again. Until next time, peace.